This week. I mean, there's some fun stuff, not much. Pretty
Mhm.
light on the news, but a couple things happened. But every once in a while, there's one thing that does happen that can carry you
Yeah.
to the finish line. And
Yeah, what's that?
I'm thankful. I really am. I am thankful that week after week, as we enter this world of AI-based discourse and everything, just as your mouth fills with slop,
Yes.
Um, I appreciate that we get the full-on X-ray. You have never understood the mind of a CEO.
Oh, man.
You have never had a better understanding of what goes through the mind of a CEO. Like, when we talk about how disconnected they are from reality, when we talk about pleasing investors becomes just the only thing they can understand, and how they're the people that are the most replaceable by AI, ironically, even though that's not the way this works. Um, Oftentimes you can sort of just, you can laugh at the absurdity of how stupid the decisions they make are, right? Um, but then there's just a disconnect with humanity that comes with it as well, where to get to this high powered position, often you need to, you know, uh, uh, be the type of person that, as we've described in the past, like is willing to step on the necks of everyone you know and not care about being loathed and despised by literally everyone on the planet, as long as you can profit out of the situation. It requires some innate sort of sociopathic tendencies, right? We've covered that over the years. The the problem with having this like reptilian skin that you're kind of shuffling out of from time to time is that you decide to sit down for an interview and pretend to be a human being for a minute, and you make the mistake of gurgling and lizard clicking into a microphone or a podcast, you know, and you get caught trying to sound like a person. And when someone sits you down to talk about the massive, overwhelming pedophilia problem in Roblox and the fact that it is a ridiculous child targeting platform that makes it insanely easy for predators to do what they want to do, and it's been a solid 20 years of this being the case, and they just started stepping up to the plate now to try and counter it. You get to see how the CEO uh can investor meeting legal excitement speak his way out of the topic when the topic we're discussing is child abuse. It's incredible. Have you seen this interview?
This is the worst interview I have ever seen in tech or games.
Bar none. Top.
It's not even close.
It
I
just
think that's a fair discussion. And it's the worst interview on question 1.
yeah. So it's like you have to appreciate. You have to really appreciate that. Like, the more they either get in front of a microphone or get quoted in text and just talk, and you get to hear it, especially in these times when, again, we're looking at the shit and shit's collapsing, and you're paying attention to how the business and industry is going. Like, it's like there's nothing you could say that is like worse than the words chosen here, but also the words chosen here indicate why you were picked for this job, why you were picked to be the person in charge of the ship when it comes to Roblox, right? Okay. So we're talking, of course, if you haven't heard about it, is that yeah, Roblox has been in the hot seat over this shit where child safety has been in question for a while now, and David Bazuski spoke to the New York Times Hard Fork podcast about the pedophile problem that they're having, and the fact that it is a platform that has predominantly children on it and people trying to get to children.
There's a Roblox sponsorship email in my inbox literally every single week that goes unanswered, specifically because I can't possibly, I couldn't touch that shit with a fucking 100-foot fucking pole.
I want to give a shout out to the user Deacon Hux, who left a comment saying, "This interview is not tone deaf; it's actively tone
Tone
malicious."
aggressive. Oh, tone malicious. That's what it is. Yeah, that's what it is.
What a phenomenal use of language. Tone malicious. So, when asked about the scope of the problem of predators on the Roblox application, Bazuki, um, came in shoulders first, saying, "We think of it not necessarily just as a problem, but an opportunity as well."
Stop. 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 That's the first question in the interview. That is his first response in the interview. That is sentence 1 of this fucking Roblox interview.
Like you really, you just put a mic in front of them, hit the button, and let them go.
So I mentioned this maybe a couple weeks ago, and I basically said that the Roblox pedophile problem has become so rampant and has been a problem for so long. And the guys that go in there to do it are big spenders because they're all adults with adult disposable income. I cannot possibly imagine it's not part of their like implicit business model.
So, you said that before, and there's that level of just like, that seems so insane, but like, there's got to be an explanation.
That's conspiracy theory.
It is tinfoil hat, but there's got to be a reason to explain, perhaps through just laziness and or not giving a whatever the case is. I don't know. You can speculate why 20 years of this have it's been an issue, and it's just never been something that's been addressed. And then you sit down and you start talking to the person about what they think of the problem. And the long story short is, every time they're asked about the fact that the Roblox platform is a place where children are targeted, and again, it's like a direct delivery system
For crepes.
for pedophilia, the answers immediately swerve over to how they have 150 million daily actives and have 11 billion hours a month, and they're trying to figure out what the best way is to keep pushing this forward.
Yeah, he kind of brags every time he gets asked about it.
He keeps talking about the success of the numbers, and like, you're kind of like, are you doing the thing where by talking about how big and successful the platform is, you're trying to say without saying that it's too big to manage? But no.
No, he's actually not saying that at all. So what's happening here is Wooly, did you didn't go to Concordia or McGill, right? You did your art program at Dawson?
That's it.
Okay, so I ran into guys from the John Molson School of Business, the future MBAs of the world, right? And of course, of like funny note is the John Molson School of Business actually didn't pay its taxes properly and was like insolvent a couple of years after I left, and the rest of the university had to bail them out. But that's a whole different thing.
Sure.
This is MBA brain. This is business acumen brain. Every problem is an opportunity. Now, we're not going to actually interact with what the problem is, right? It's just like, I don't want to hear problems.
That's negative thinking. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But on top of that, it's a very long interview.
Yeah.
But of note is it like there's two parts to the pedophilia as an opportunity response. And because part one is like, this might be the worst thing you could have possibly said other than I love it, or you know, right? But the second part is he actually rambles on for like a full paragraph after that.
So that's the thing, right? Is yeah, I mean, literally, this is the worst answer you can give in response to these types of questions, with the exception of, I don't perspire, and I haven't since the Falkland Wars, you see.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't, you can't possibly hit anything worse than that. And the interviewers, they keep bringing it back to the problem, right? Like, they don't let him get off of the subject, even though he's desperately trying to. And it's this weird, again, brain-breaking CEO moment of just them being like, hey, so, but actually, why has it taken this long for you to try to stop adults from being able to speak to children? Do you understand that Roblox is where predators go to find kids? Like, they keep pressing the issue, and dude just comes back with, I think we're doing an incredible job with innovating the relative number of people on our platform and the hours, and we're really leaning into the future of how things are going to work, and, you know, talking about the scaling, and again, 150 million users, 11 billion hours a month, and goes.
And so what we're gonna do, Wooly, is what we're gonna do. We're gonna innovate with AI face recognition, and we're gonna innovate with chat filters. And when the interviewer is like, hey, so people can get around that age verification shit in like 2 seconds, does that bother you? Well, it's always innovating, it's always getting better, it's always getting better. And it's what I'm hearing through this interview is a guy unwilling to say out loud to shareholders, I'm going to do something about the disposable income pedophiles on my platform and thus decrease profits. That's what I hear. I hear a guy uniquely unwilling to say, we're going to do something about this problem because this problem makes us a lot of money.
I hear somebody who's unable to parse the difference between the person asking him about solving the problem as someone who wants the answer to be something that will increase profits, or the person asking him the question being a parent of a child who was getting groomed, for example. There is only one approach to this, and everything needs to revert back to CEO speak. Every conversation needs to be a shareholder meeting. And he would talk this way to a judge in a courtroom.
Yeah, he would. Well, no, actually, he wouldn't. His lawyer
the
would be
lawyers
like,
would be advising.
Quiet.
Yeah,
would say be quiet.
The lawyers would be
answer questions with a yes, no.
Oh, but you know he really wants to say that too.
I know,
Your Honor, you don't understand. 150 million actives, right? And of course, and then there's the part where, there's over the years been a struggle to turn children into money. You see, because you have all these actives. And what is that many actives but an opportunity? Every child you have here is something that can eventually be turned into cash if you just CEO it hard enough, right? If you business it hard enough, right? If it's a free
adults don't have money. What money do kids have?
It's an opportunity, Pat. It's an opportunity, right? And so when you want to figure out, like, how are you tying this together? Like, what do you see here? You get like the choice morsel in the middle of this discussion about stopping the predators on the child platform. And the interviewers kind of go, like, they start talking about the hypotheticals of, like, other things and verification and other aspects of Roblox that could be horrible for children. For example, what if you got into, like, gambling? What if you got into a prediction market inside of Roblox, right? And they're like, oh, so you could do a system where you're like, I bet you could have some kids inside of Roblox with a prediction market. This is the interviewers going, say, I bet he's going to steal a tung sahur or something like that. Or I bet he's not going to dress to impress, right? And the CEO replies, well, we think, once again, there's some of the complexity that I'll share some of it. Every single country in the world has different legislation around boxes and kid gambling. So we would have to, well, it sounds very fun and obvious. Like, I love that. And then the interviewer goes, oh, no, wait, hold on. To be clear, we think this is a horrible idea. They're proposing something facetiously because
he actually literally out loud says, I would love to addict children to gambling. It's such a fun idea.
And, like, they awkwardly laugh because they're like, dude, like we were being ridiculous talking about that. And he's like, well, I actually think it's a brilliant idea if it can be done in an educational way that's legal. And so imagine no free Robux, no free prizes, just a game called the Dress to Impress Predictor. Like where
Right.
it's not trying to get
I
kids
feel-
money or anything like that. I would be a big fan of it.
I feel like I'm old enough that I can solidify a strong feeling I felt my whole life, but I feel like I've seen it enough times. Like, no, I feel I can put it into like I can chisel it into a stone tablet. And if you tell someone, "Hey, I think what you're doing is wrong," and their response is, "Well, it's not against the law," they're a bad person. They're a bad person. Because they're basing their behavior on punishment.
Will I get locked in a cage?
Yeah. Not any kind of objective or subjective morality.
No, perhaps just the reinforced rules of polite society.
Well, it's not technically against the rules, so.
Yeah, no, like walking through life on hustle or scam mode and seeing that filter go off when you look at a child. Like you see a baby and you're like, So it's not surprising to say.
What if instead of taking candy from the baby, I could convince the baby to sell it to me on a subprime loan?
On a subprime mortgage. With baby, these rates, I'm telling you right now,
they're never going to be better than they are right now.
The fixed term rate I can offer you right now is the peak, and if you lock in for 50 years, we're calling it. We're calling it the
50 years, little baby.
50-year lollipop mortgage.
Goo goo gaga, isn't that a disastrous recession indicator and a descriptor of an incoming like failed economy?
But
goo goo gaga?
But it's only about $200 off every month in the long term. Hey, let's lock them in. The fucking conversation, surprise, gets aggressive because as the interviewers are realizing that the lizard they're talking to is incapable of answering the predator question and keeps trying to find the opportunity investor speak way out of it, they start pinning down more and more specifics, for example, about regulation, about how to moderate and the etc. And it gets hostile. It gets a little more aggressive. But the way that a guy like this gets aggressive is when they go, he basically starts talking and over smiling on the during the conversation. So when they're trying to bring the points
louder up, and with your mouth more open.
Exactly. So he's like, so you would agree that AI is a good solution for example, the ability they have to having too much to moderate, right? And they go, yeah, sure, hypothetically. And then he starts going, so I'm glad you guys are aligned with the way that we run Roblox. High five. And then they start saying, well, yeah, but, and he's like, it's so great that you're here and agreeing with the way that we run the company. High five, right? And he
tries to go for like 5 high fives.
Right? And
desperate for accommodation and validation.
And so, like, what you have is a person who is, through this interview, again, question one, we see the pedophilia as an opportunity, and by the end of the conversation, we're now not only swerving away and trying, and like he keeps slip dodging away from the question. He's slip dodging in the direction he wants to take the conversation, which is how to get the kids gambling at an earlier age.
It's the worst interview I've ever seen.
It is again, with the exception of there was a pizza shop in Woking, and I remember because we don't go to Woking that often. And I apologize for my friend Epstein and his unbecoming behavior. To which, to which the interviewer says,
well, that's a whole different tier.
To which the interviewer goes, unbecoming. He raped children, and Prince, the Andrew formerly known as Prince goes, well, yeah, right? That's the number one worst interview of all time. Like, that's a bullet with a bullet. You're not going to beat that. That's number one. You can't. But this
You know what? Let's interview this guy again. And see if we can get there.
This is not far behind. And we're dealing with the same subject matter, you know? Yes, and when I talked about the sweat perspiration earlier, you can't.
So, literally 5 minutes ago, while we were talking about this, news has come out that a judge has ruled for Meta, aka Facebook, in a antitrust case brought against them by the FTC, where it was discovered that the company's internal algorithm had recommended millions of children's Instagram accounts to a set of users that had been labeled internally as groomers. They actually won that lawsuit. The FTC lost it.
FTC.
Yeah.
Not FGC.
No, the FTC lost
FTC.
that.
Yeah. Okay.
No.
Okay. Wow. Well,
you know, Woolie, so maybe this is a bit like I think about this a lot. Right? I think about how one day my kid's going to want a phone, right? And the interact with the internet and all that stuff. And I think, man, that's going to be hard. And that's going to be hard as a parent who literally works on social media every single day.
This is a
How
this
the
is a
fuck is Jenny, like, homemaker, watches her programs, gonna have a fucking shot at this? How the fuck?
Uncharted territory, unprecedented. We are entering God knows how to manage these hurdles. All you can do is watch the parents next to you that are a little bit further ahead and just see the damage and go, oh.
Like I was
no, don't go over there. Don't go over there, kid. You know,
I was at a place with you know, and my guy was like running, like, you know, on a tricycle, you know, doing that stuff with all the kids, and I was chit chatting with one of the moms there that I see quite often, and she mentioned something. I'm like, oh, we're not going to let that happen. And she's like, why? Oh, and I started into some of this, and I could see her eyes start to like glaze over from the horror she didn't know existed. And I'm like, oh, fuck, dude, it's awful.
You remember Squid Games?
Yeah.
You remember the puzzle that was the glass that you had to jump on?
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's that.
Yeah.
It's that with your kid. Just, oh, someone jumped on the sugar glass. Damn.